Hi everyone! What kinds of options do you have if you have rodents in the house? My name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm a real estate advisor, investor, and your #1 source for real estate advice online. Check out my website today. It's at the bottom of this video. And check out my ebooks, my radio show here in Savannah, Georgia. You can also listen to that. I also publish my radio shows on the YouTube channel usually, so go ahead and check it out. And in this video, we're going to explore the question of rodents. Now, if you're in tax sale foreclosures, or if you live in a rural area, or maybe have like a field around where you live, or even if you're downtown and your house is older, which by the way, a lot of the houses are going to be that you're going to buy at tax sale foreclosures, you might run into the issue sometimes of having rodents, and by that I mean rats and mice. Now, this particular house where I am right now, I actually purchased at a tax sale foreclosure auction about 3 years ago, 14, 15, so yeah, a little bit over 3 years ago. So I've had this house for a while. We've been picking it up a little bit, kind of renting it on Airbnb sometimes, but you know, the city has rules about how long we can rent it, so we have to abide by their rules, of course. Sometimes I have students staying here or friends, sometimes I stay here myself, but it's an older home. I mean, it was built in the 40s, and I'm going to walk you through here real quick as I talk, but you can kind of look behind me and how everything looks. So this house I purchased for, I'm going to just turn on the light so you can see it better here. We have the kitchen. So anyway, I'm just going to go around and show you. So this house I purchased for $1,400 about a little bit over 3 years ago. We've done a lot of work to it, obviously. Well, not that much actually, but mostly the kitchen. The kitchen had to be replaced. And what happened is I started renting it out. And of course, cool thing is tax sale foreclosures, there's no mortgage. And so the money that you make is pretty much all profit. You got to pay for taxes and insurance, of course. And sometimes you have to pay for pest control, because that is necessary if you have an older home like this one. So basically what's happening is that I discovered some rat droppings apparently. The people that were, my pest control people were just here. They determined that the poops that were left were rats, and mice are covered but rats are not. I don't know what makes them say that, but apparently my contract covers mice but not rats. And what they say is mice are a pest and rats are wildlife. So I don't know how mice are not wildlife but rodents are, but rats are, being they're from the same group, but in any case. So what they're going to do, and this is my advice to you, what they're going to do is, of course, they're going to try to sell you service. And the first thing, the best thing to do is actually for pest control specialists to come in and see where all the holes are where these animals could get in. And I'm going to show you where they found the hole in this house. So I had a new electrical system put into this house because it was really old wiring and it wasn't safe. And apparently my contractor, and let me just show you where the panel is. Right here is the electrical panel. And apparently on the other side of that panel, in this cabinet, they left a little gap in the wall, as you can see. And that's where the mice are coming in. And even though there's no food in this house, because I rarely use this house, they were looking for shelter apparently, and it was really cold here in Savannah a couple of months now, and I wasn't here very much, and so they built their little nest up there in that cabinet. Now I've already cleaned everything up, everything's been sanitized, everything's clean. They put some traps up in there. But here are basically your options. They're going to, first off, of course, they're going to suggest for you to pay for the sealing process, where they basically will go and completely seal up the entire house, find all the holes where rats and mice could get in, and put like a little mesh, like a mesh type of cover over each one of those holes, and they just kind of staple it down or nail it down or whatever. And this little mesh thing costs maybe a couple of dollars. It's super extremely cheap, not very expensive at all. and I'll walk through the rest of the house so you can see it as I'm talking. And they're going to charge you anywhere from $600 to $1,000 for that. So they're actually going to basically charge you a way big up price to find these holes. And my first response to them, of course, was, well, thanks for telling me where the holes are. I'm just going to hire a contractor and come and do it for me now. And they're like, well, but you don't know where all the holes are. Yeah, I don't know where all the holes are, but guess what? Find as many as you can, close them up, and if you still have mice coming in, you'll do another walkthrough until you find more, and then you put the little mesh thing on there. I mean, you don't need to. If you really want to pay somebody to do that, go ahead, but I think it's a waste of money, especially if you purchase a house like this for $1,400 like I did. I'm not going to spend $600 on somebody to close up all the holes. That would be ridiculous. In any case, here's another room I can show you. The other option is to just get them to clean up the mess if you can't handle it yourself. You can't handle the mouse dropping some poops and you can't handle cleaning them up yourself. I am very well capable of cleaning up mouse poop. I have 2 children and I've raised them since they were little babies, so yeah, I've dealt with diapers and poops, so a little bit of mouse poop isn't going to be a problem for me. So I cleaned it up already, and then the next 2 options would be to close that door. Come on, close up. So the next option would be to actually put poison out, or I would say, what was the other thing they said? Okay, traps and poison. Now, traps are good if they're humane. Snap traps is one option. The other option would, of course, be to go ahead and turn that off. Use like a glue board where the mice would just get on the glue board and just get stuck. And that's an option. I don't know if that's really more humane, actually. It's probably better to just get like a box where they're just trapped in the box and they're alive and you just take them someplace else. But here's a couple things that the pest control people actually told me while they were here, which I didn't know. That if a house like this, there's no food in it really for them to eat, they're probably most likely using it as a shelter. And that being said, they don't put up any shelters unless it's really close to their food source. So there must be food source outside somewhere for them, or maybe in one of the other houses, I don't know. And so they're close to a food source. But if there's actually people here coming and going and making noise, rats and mice are scared of people, so they're going to stay away. So the fact that this house was pretty much unoccupied for a couple of months is the fact why I had mice, because I haven't had mice here in the last 3 years. This is the first time. And so it was good to know that it's necessary to keep a house occupied in order to make sure that you don't have any rodent problems. Of course, there's a number of other reasons why you should keep a house occupied, just to make sure that it's everything's functioning properly. But the other thing that they told me is that, hey, if you're gonna actually give them poison, the bad thing that can happen is that normally rodents, when they're about to die and they know they're about to die, they actually go hide somewhere, and it can very well happen that they die inside the walls where they came from, and it's going to be extremely difficult to get them out once they're in there and dead. And if you've ever smelled a dead rodent decaying, it's the most atrocious smell you can think of. I remember when I was pregnant with child number 1, and a rodent died behind my stove. It was a drop-in, so there's no way to just pull it out and get the mouse out. You actually had to get somebody to lift the thing up and take it out that way, and it was a big endeavor. I couldn't do it, I was pregnant, so I had to hire somebody to do it, or I think my husband did it at the time. I can't remember. But that smell will never leave your nostrils. Once you smell that, you can't ever unsmell it, which will also be able to let you detect any kind of decaying body anywhere for the rest of your life. You'll know exactly what that smells like if you've never smelled it before. I don't recommend it, by the way. So in any case, so giving poison to a rat or a mouse without somehow sealing off the house first is a really bad idea because they can die in your walls. So if you're going to use poison, the pest control guys that were just here recommended to seal off the house first. Then if you want to do poison, go ahead. You can also use traps because then you can obviously get rid of the dead body because you'll know where it is. But the best way is, of course, to seal off the house. Now, my decision with this house, because I didn't pay for it, didn't pay very much money for it, and it would be a waste for me to actually spend that much money, and I know how it can be done cheaper. I'm just going to wait till my contractor Joe comes back into town. I'm going to ask him to seal off the holes that the pest control people identified to me. Hopefully that'll do the trick. If I still have mice after that, then we're going to be going out and looking for more holes. And if we can't find all the holes and the mice keep coming back, that's when I'll hire a professional to close up all the holes. So that's my course of action. That's course of action I would recommend to you also if you have rodents, if you have any kind of pests like that in any of your homes, whether it be rental or your own home. And I'm kind of giving you an overview of what the process is like. Now in my case, I had a pest control contract. So like I said, mice were covered, rodents were not. I was able to tell these guys here to just put up the traps, and then if we catch something, I'd call them back and they'll remove it. And this is how they'll determine if it's a rat or a mouse and whether or not it's covered by my contract. I didn't have to pay anything today, so that was a good thing. That was my goal. And I hope you don't have to pay too much out of pocket either. And with that, I'm going to conclude this video. I hope it was informational for you. And make sure you subscribe on my website, juliamspencer.com. Also subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you can find me. By the way, people, thank you so much for all your likes, for all your shares, for all your comments. Please comment, keep commenting. A lot of my ideas for videos and my books actually come from your comments. And yeah, feel free to send me any kind of suggestions and any kind of other information that you want to send me on this topic or any other topic. My name is Julia M. Spencer. I'm your real estate advisor, investor, and enthusiast, #1 online. Thank you.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.